Hello and welcome to a big update for xPlane 11.5 or xPlane 12 when it comes to Auto Ortho Scenery. xPlane, I'm not going to reshoot it again. Now I would call this update a game-changing update. The problem is when it comes to game-changing stuff, people just overuse that title all the time. So I thought, you know, I'll not put it in the title, but I'll put it in the intro. And it actually is a huge difference. But if you installed Auto Ortho Scenery and then you decide not to run it, the game crashes. That's no longer the case. Let's just recap real quick. This is a screenshot I took from xPlane just, I don't know, in the last week or two. If you take a look at the scenery there on the ground, this is not default xPlane scenery. This is basically satellite maps. It looks a lot more akin to what you'd expect from Flight Sim 12. The problem with Auto Ortho Scenery, and it's been around for a while, I've been using it for about 6 to 8 months on my videos, is it didn't always work very well. So I was doing an updated review here for the 747-800 recently, and I'm just going to play it and show you the problems that could arise with Auto Ortho Scenery. So I'm just going to turn the sound down so you can see how I was flying. Now what I want you to notice here is look at the frame rate in the game. We're about 46, 47 frames, roughly down to 45, up to 48. So we're calling it 40-something. You know, this is a very playable way to fly. Now, this is nothing to do with the SSG 747-800. That's obviously what I'm trying to review in this particular video. But again, just to show you the frame rate is okay. But the closer here I get to my destination, which in this case is Eham, which is Schipol, big airport in Amsterdam, the worse things got. So I'm just going to scrub forward through my replay. And this is why the replay never went live. When I set myself up for final approach here, coming into land, take a look at the frame rate now. So I'm going to press play. 1,000 feet glide. I'm going to shut up and just put the game sounds on. And if we take a look at the range there, we're just under 10 miles. And I'm just going to skip forward a little bit until we're on light fight. So here I am trying to figure out why is the frame rate so low. 747 here has actually taken a big chunk out of this. But why is xPlane? Why is the frame rate so low? I've never seen xPlane. Now notice the frame rate improve when I look to the side window. Oh, there we go. All of a sudden it's back okay again. And then I move I move the view to the front and it drops. 747 now taking up 10% of the frame rate. There you can see. Now, to me, that right there is an unplayable frame rate. I'm not sure what it is, but we're probably talking 10 frames a second, maybe 15. In my opinion, that you can't play a sim when it comes to that. And I'm just going to, again, scrub forward through, and I realize, I mean, look at this. This is absolutely horrific. So I'm going to tell you here and now what I dug around and I realized what caused it. It was the Auto Ortho Scenery, at least the version that I had installed back then, caused it. This caused me to go onto the forums and say, is there a way to turn Auto Ortho Scenery off without completely uninstalling it? And I had two answers. And the truth is there is only one answer. And that one answer is update to the latest version, and then you can choose to have it running or not without having to do anything else. It used to be, the old answer was have two different scenery configuration files, which in my opinion is already getting a little bit complicated for a lot of people, but whatever. Have two different scenery configuration files, and then you would choose, do I want to use Auto Ortho Scenery, in which case I'm going to use one file, or do I not, and I use the other file. You no longer need to juggle with these files or worry about the technical side of it, because it used to be, if you tried to run xPlane without Auto Scenery, the game would crash. Yeah, and that's what happened to me. If you Auto Scenery and then you decide not to run it, the game crashes. That's no longer the case. What I want to show next is that when you install the Auto Ortho Scenery, what happens now is your files look a little bit cleaner, as we see here. The folders look a bit cleaner like here. So here we've got Australia Pacific, we've got Europe, North America, South America, and I think the Asia one is missing. Now I've got my old scenery packs backed up here, and the reason I'm not deleting it is just for the purposes of this video. if I open this particular file, this is my scenery ini folder. What I want you to take away from this, and if this is going over your head and you're thinking, oh, I just want Auto Ortho Scenery, just know that you don't have to worry about this to the same extent that you used to do. It used to be that the folders looked like this, and this is obviously a right mess. And so literally all of these here were folders here. So you can imagine your xPlane custom scenery folder sort of extended on and on and on. It doesn't anymore. But in addition to this now, not only does it present it in a cleaner style like this, so there's one folder for each continent basically. Not only is it like that, but it loads or not depending on if you're running the app, which is a huge day and night difference to the way that it was and without crashing. So if I want to run xPlane and just have the default xPlane scenery, which just got a huge update in and of itself in the last week or two, I just don't run Auto Ortho Scenery. I don't have to change a single thing. I just don't run it. The next update, which is, in my opinion, it's one of these annoying ones, but I see more and more apps going this way, and that is, it used to be that applications installed, and Author was no different. It would ask you where you wanted it to be installed to. And generally you'd go C program files wherever, or D program files, or however you have your drive set up. That would be how it installed. It now installs in that annoying way to find, at least I find it annoying way to find C/Windows/users/wherever, and often it's within a hidden folder that then you've got a view hidden folder. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, that annoying way to find it. Which, by the way, if those bloody seagulls would shut up, is why the icon, the Auto Ortho icon that I used to have here, right next to my xPlane icon, is disappeared. So when I updated Auto Ortho Scenery, it also got rid of the icon that I used to click on it. So how do I click on it? Well, the answer is I press the start button, and I realize it's at the top of the list here because I've been using it recently. But just in case it wasn't, I would go start, I'd type in Auto, and here it is. Here is the Auto Ortho Scenery that I'm looking for. And so what I suggest you do if your icon has disappeared from your desktop like mine has, open the file location, and here we see, in this case, it's Start Menu Programs. We've got the Auto Ortho shortcut here. So this isn't the actual program itself, just the shortcut to it. But in my opinion, that's all you need, the shortcut. So I'm going to right click and drag it onto the desktop and just choose Create Shortcuts here. Come away from this, and now I can put Auto Ortho back in its rightful place. And so now, if I want to run xPlane with Auto Ortho, I click this one first, and then run xPlane. If I just want xPlane, I just obviously click xPlane. If you're just wanting to see what's new and how it works, that's the end of the video for you. If you're somebody that says, okay, this sounds good, show me how to get it, where to get it, and if I've got any problems, then this next bit of the video is for you. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come to this website here. I will leave a link in the description. If I forget to do it, just shout and holler at me in the comments section and I will do it. Now there's a Windows setup version here, and if you scroll down a bit from the Windows setup, you'll actually see here you've got an experimental installer setup. I found this works really well, so I suggest, unless you're one of these technical types that loves tinkering with everything, just use the installer that tries to do it all for you. And I found it worked, with the exception that there was this bit of a confusion because I had the old setup. If you're installing this for the first time, just follow this procedure here. Just do this and you'll be okay. Because I had existing scenery in the old setup, it wasn't as straightforward. So if you are updating from an older version of Auto Ortho to a newer one, this is what you need to do. First off, follow the instructions here, which is basically you need to click this link. This downloads the latest version 0.72. So what you want to do at this page, and again, if you're used to GitHub, you'll feel right at home. Those of you who don't often traverse these parts of the web, what you want is this one here, assuming you're on Windows. Yeah, the Auto Ortho Win 0.72.exe. And so what you do, click on that. you'll see it appear down here. It'll go pretty quick. It's basically 25 megabytes in size. And then go to your downloads on here. This is obviously the way it works now in Chrome browser or whatever browser you use. And there you've got your setup, this one here. Now, I'm not going to click on it because, like I say, I've already installed it. But if this is your first time running it, double click that to run it to update. Okay, so you've got your thing updated. Your icon disappears, so you do that little trick that I just showed you to make it reappear on the desktop. And you run it. When you run it, and again, this is because it glitched for... When I now thought, right, I'll click run down here, and you see the app looks slightly different than the way it used to do. And of course, if you're wondering, well, what version do I have? Just run it and see up here. Version, in my case, this is the latest version as I recorded this, 0.7.2. So if you've got an older version than that, then I suggest updating it. Press the run icon here. Now, if you load xPlane and it errors once you start loading in because you've updated it, this bit. First off, I recommend cleaning your cache here. Something that I've never done, but I had to do it to fix the issue. So clean cache there. Then go to where your custom scenery folder is. So I'm not going to click browse because I don't need to change the setting, but I'm just going to physically go to that folder, which is this folder here. Load up your scenery ini by double clicking on it. And what you need to do now is back this up. So the way that I back it up is just click once it's loaded, file, save as, and just delete the .ini at the end and just call it something like .bck for backup or whatever. Just change the last 3 letters. Remember to set save type to all. You don't want to save it as a text file. Save it as scenery packs backup. Okay, save. Now what you've done is you've created this backup of your scenery packs. So if it all goes wrong, you can at least get to where you were before you made these changes. Then what you want to do, and again, I'm just going to load up my old file that shows the way it was for me, is delete all of these. So all of these older ones you want to get rid of to there. And then what you want to do is file save, file exit. Now again, I'm not going to do it, but you know, because it's done for me. Then you'll have a load of folders on here to do with your Auto Ortho. You know that they're Auto Ortho because whether they are old files or new, let me get the other one, you'll see they all have this naming convention. Z_S_A or Z_Oz pack, and then this number. They all start Z. Now the newer style, you know, ZAO for Auto Ortho, they all have ZAO, but before they didn't, but they still had the Z. Now this was a little confusing, I realize that, but this is one of the changes that they've made. So delete the older Auto Ortho sceneries, and again, they all start Z. Be careful not to delete any of your other ones. You know, any of these xPlane ones or any of your other scenery, careful not to delete. Just the Auto Ortho sceneries. Once that's done, what you then want to do is come into your Auto Ortho app here. If you've not run it, set it running. Come over to your scenery tab. And what you'll want to do is install these. Now, if you've got out-of-date scenery, it will say to update or just install. Install all the ones that you're going to use. I mean, it takes a little while to do. I mean, I've got a real fast connection, but I find even despite having a fast connection, this does not go as fast as the connection would allow. Obviously, it's downloading from wherever it is that is limited. It's not, I wouldn't say it's slow, but you know, I've got a gigabit fiber connection. It does not work at gigabit speed. And so install the ones that you want. So North America, South America, Europe, to me, that's a common one, as well as the Australia one. You know, Asia and Africa, it's not like I never go there, but I would say out of all of them, I probably go there the least, no doubt about it. Once they're done, you can now run this. Press run. You'll wait. See now it says mounting sceneries, and if I don't know if you observed the folder there, some of the files changed. You see now we've got shortcuts here. That's it. And now all that you do is run xPlane and you have Auto Ortho running. In my experience, in my opinion, Auto Ortho now looks loads smoother than it did prior to the update. And again, I've got a high-end system with a fast wired connection. You know, I make that distinction because I don't use Wi-Fi because of the, you know, the problems that Wi-Fi can give when it comes to sending large amounts of data. Not to say it's impossible, just depends how far you are away from your router. For me, the connection was too unstable once there was lots of data. So I've gone wired, you know, to get the best out of my connection possible. But that now works. Now let's assume that you're doing a video like I like to do for some sort of review or whatever the reason is. You're doing a video, perhaps you're flying online and the performance on Auto Ortho takes a hit. Maybe you're going to an area where Auto Ortho looks terrible, because remember, it's just loading in the satellite maps from wherever, and some satellite maps in certain areas are better than others. All that you do is come to Auto Ortho, we're going to quit, or you just don't load it in the first place. But I would suggest that it's more important than ever that you exit Auto Ortho Scenery in this tool here that you see running using the quit button, and you can see it takes a while to quit, and that's because it's changing everything around for you automatically now, so you don't need to worry about it. And now if you run xPlane, you will just get the default scenery in the way that it always was. And so I hope you found that video useful. You can see my cat there. I realize it's been a while since I've done a video. I'm actually not 100% at the minute. I'm perhaps a little bit better than I was a day or two ago, but I'm still not right, man. So that's going to be it from me. And so to end up with the video, I would just like to thank the team behind Auto Ortho for creating a fantastic tool, because it is. I hope you found this useful, and until next time from me, wherever in the world you may be, take care. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. See ya.